Hello and welcome to My Bolt EUV. I am Jim and we're going from point A to point B. Today we're going to talk about charging. I've already filmed a DC fast charge session at one of the new 7-Eleven fast chargers just down the road from my house here. But today, and to begin with, we're going to start talking about charging at home. That is the most important place you should charge. We've all seen in the news in the past week all the problems that people are having fast charging up in the frozen north of Chicago, Illinois. People pulling up to fast chargers and not able to even start a charge because their battery is frozen. Well, the problem is lithium-ion batteries do not charge well at -4 degrees Fahrenheit, or Celsius, I should say, which is about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Just not a good thing to do. You have to precondition your battery, that is to warm it up enough to accept a charge, and even then, if it doesn't get warm enough, it's going to accept a charge much slower than it normally does. The most important thing you can do is charge at home. As we know from Norway, where 25% of the cars on the road are electric cars, they're much colder most of the year than we are here in the United States, and they don't seem to have this problem. That's because 92% of the people there charge at home and only use DC fast chargers when they're out on the road. That's the same thing we should do here. The problem is here in the United States, there are not a lot of apartment buildings that allow or afford the possibility of plugging into an AC charger, which is what we're about to do here today. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the DC fast charge session that I had at the 7-Eleven a few days ago. So here we go. First, you need to bring your J1772 plug to the plug of your car. So you open it up, open up your protective cover, and you simply plug into the J1772 port. When you do, you're going to hear an audible beep in the case of the Chevrolet Bolt, and you're going to see on the dashboard of the car the green flashing light. Let me show that to you. As you can see from that green flashing light, it's flashing twice. 1, 2. And then it stops and pauses. Well, that also is a visual indicator. At this particular time, I'm right at 48 to 50% charge. So it's flashing twice to tell me that I'm near 50%. When it reaches 75%, it will flash 3 times. And when it reaches 100%, it will flash 4 times. If it's flashing 1 or fewer times, that means you're 25% or below. That's all that means. All right, let's take a look at this J1772 port. When I pushed down, I heard it disconnect, the green light stopped flashing. As soon as you push down on this button, it disconnects power from your car. When I plug it back in, I hear a click on my EVSE, and I hear a beep on my car telling me that it has started charging. Now let's talk a little bit about the EVSE equipment that I have installed in my garage. It's EVSE, it's electric vehicle supply equipment. The actual charger is in the car. This is just the communication and relay device for relaying AC power to your car for the charger to do the onboard charging. This one happens to be a 32 amp charger. You can see it right here. I'm right now delivering 31.3 amps to the car. The voltage is 235 volts roughly, and since I plugged it in about a minute ago, I've already delivered 0.15 kilowatt hours. The temperature that you see displayed here, 88.2, is the temperature of the internal components in this EVSE. It has nothing to do with the car. It is only the electric vehicle supply equipment temperature. This particular EVSE, once it reaches 110, will shut off until it cools down below 90. So be advised, you need to pick one. If you're in a high temperature environment like I am, you need to pick one that's going to handle 110 degrees or higher. And you probably don't want to put something like this sitting out in the sun. This is an indoor use version only. That doesn't mean that the handle that I plug into my car can't be used outside. It can, because it is very waterproof and watertight, but you don't put this outside. It's just not designed. It's not NEMA rated for rain and such. If you want one that's NEMA rated, you should probably go look on one of the websites that has one that is IP67 rated or higher. Okay, while we're zoomed in here on this J1772 port, I'm going to disconnect again. I want to talk about this. This portion of the port is the J1772 plug. This is where the AC and the communication signals go from the EVSE, which we'll talk about in a minute, into this port. When you're at a DC fast charge station, on the Chevrolet Bolt, you have to open this little orange door. These are the two AC connections. You still have this part of the plug too, which will contain the communication pins that allow the charger to communicate with your car and your car to communicate with the charger to make sure the status is okay for it to accept a charge. The only time you need to open this little orange door or any other cover on a CCS-1 type DC fast charge plug is when you're doing a DC fast charge. When you're AC charging, just simply plug in and go. I'm actually stopping at my first stop, which is a 7 charge, brand new station here in Sanford. Walk it over to the car. Plug it in. So this one you pay with only a credit card. It's preparing to charge and it's plugged in. You just heard the beep. Getting back in because it is cold. We're only going to be here for 10 minutes. We're going to see what 10 minutes worth of charge will give us. Right now I'm charging at about 34 kilowatts. I purposely pulled up here with only about 60%, and we'll probably leave with about 70% because we're like this 7 charge was just installed back in December of 23. It's very convenient for me if I forget to plug in my car, which doesn't happen often, but if I forget to plug in my car, I can stop here and top off on my way to work. I want to talk to you just a little bit about the controversy that we've been having, again, because of the cold this past week and cars not being able to charge, specifically cars showing up at the Tesla fast chargers and simply not being able to connect or running out of battery while they're waiting. You know, electric vehicles are as different from ICE vehicles as an ICE vehicle is from the horse and buggy. Can you imagine people back in the early 1900s riding into town on their horse and buggy and laughing at the guys in the ICE vehicles who had to go into the drugstore and buy a gallon of gas to put in their car? And the range on an ICE vehicle back in the early 1900s was 50 to 75 miles at best. And they didn't have gas stations on every corner like they do now. It's taken 100 years for us to come to the level where we are with the internal combustion engine. And it's just in the past 30 years that they've become efficient enough that where you can get 20 to 25 miles per gallon on some of the bigger vehicles, larger vehicles like a pickup truck. That's recent development. And that's because people stagnated with the wealth and availability of gasoline. Now we're moving into the electric car revolution. And people don't like it. People are resistant to change. I understand that. I'm an early adopter. I always have been. I've owned a computer for almost 40 years, a personal computer. I was one of the first people I know to adopt a cell phone. It was a bag phone that you had to carry on your hip, weighed over 5 pounds. Most of you don't remember those. And the few that do probably laugh at what I just talked about. If you watch the movie Lethal Weapon, you'll see them using this great big huge phone they stuck to their ear. Or Gordon Gekko, he had a big phone that he stuck to his ear back in 1987. All pretty laughable now. Electric vehicles are new. They've only been sold widely for 12 years. And I'm telling you, the development and the research that's going into them will make the internal combustion engine obsolete within the next 15 years. Not to mention the price of gas is going to continue to go up. I don't care who's elected president. The president does not control the price of gasoline. The free market economy controls the price of gasoline, just like the free market economy will make a decision on whether electric vehicles are good or not. I just want you to know there are safe ways and good ways to charge your vehicle. There are safe ways and good ways to charge your vehicle when you're out on the road. I just did a 3-video series on a 1,200-mile trip that I took in this vehicle, and I had no problems even in the most remote places in southern Georgia and southern Alabama in finding a place to charge my car. The things that you're seeing on TV right now are because Some of the early adopters have not done their homework. They think that getting in their car and driving it as an EV is no different than it is an ICE vehicle. Well, I've got news for you. Operating a vehicle is not the same as driving a vehicle. Most internal combustion engine vehicles that I know of today don't have a choke on them. I learned to drive on a car that had 3 on the tree and a choke. Things have changed in the past few years, and technology moves forward. Things change. That's a part of life. The electric vehicle, to operate it, is much different and a different mindset than you have in an internal combustion engine car. I don't pull up to a DC fast charger and expect to fill it up to 100% like you do when you pull up to a pump and pump that last little 2 or 3 squirts into your gas tank when you're filling up a gas car. It's a different mindset. I go about 2 to 2.5 hours between charges when I'm out on the road. First of all, from a safety standpoint, I'm a safer driver because I stop every 2 hours. I don't get in my internal combustion engine car and drive for 6.5 hours without even stopping and going to the bathroom. That's dangerous. Second of all, this car is much better for the planet. I've proven that at least in 3 videos. Go back and watch them. And third, this is what you're going to see in the future. Electric vehicles are the future. Get ready for them and start learning about them now. I appreciate your time. I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by today. Remember, treat everyone with kindness, put a smile on your face, help someone today, and pay it forward when someone does the same for you. Again, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you real soon or somewhere along the route from point A to point B. Take it easy, everybody.